Okay, the Jews from Buchach, where we were living the last time, were expelled, and they were no more allowed to stay there. So my mother decided that she will take me to our town, Monastyrzyska, and maybe we'll find some people who will have some pity on us and will help us. So we walked around for days from place to place, and we couldn't find one place where anybody was willing to help us. So my mother remembered that at one time a neighbor took us to a village around Buchach, and this guy was very friendly to us because mother was very nice to him. He took us in for money, which he agreed how much we will pay him. But after we paid him, my mother decided she's going to give him more to be in good relations with him. So this made a good impression on him, and he told my mother, anytime you will be in trouble, you always can come back to me and I'll help you. So we decided we will go to this village, but the village was a long distance, so we had to pass different places. We were afraid to walk during the daytime, so we walked during the night. But in middle of the night, we walked with side roads because we were afraid to go with the main road. Somehow we lost our direction and we didn't know where we were going and where we have been. So we were in very big trouble. And my mother decided maybe we'll go to a village when the day comes and we will ask for direction to that village which we wanted to go to hide. That man, his name was, I remember, Sarachman. In the village, I remember the village. At the moment, I can't remember at the moment, but I remember the name of the village. So we wanted to get to him. And one day, we got up in the morning and we decided we'll go to any village which is the nearest we saw on the horizon, and we will go there and ask for the name of the village, how to get there. So we walked in the daytime because we were afraid at night somebody will be suspicious. And we passed one house, the second house, and mother says, this looks a nice house. Let's try and get in here. So we opened the gate and we went to the door. The lady opened the door and she let us in. She didn't ask any questions. But I had, from walking with bad shoes or without shoes, I don't remember, I was bleeding from my feet. So she felt sorry for me and she put some kind of band-aids or something to help me. And when she was taking care of us, all of a sudden a big guy walks in and he looks at us and he says to my mother, you are Jews, aren't you, with a loud voice. So my mother thought that's the end of us. And she started crying and he says, don't worry, nothing is going to happen to you in my house. But one question I have. My dog is trained not to let any strangers in. How did you pass my dog? My mother says, I didn't see any dog. I don't know. And by the way, how come you passed the other house and you didn't go over there? Why did you pick mine? So my mother says, I don't know, I saw your house, it looks nice, and we took a chance. You are very lucky because this guy, my neighbor, he took Jews, promised them that he will hide them, and in the end he killed them by himself. If you would have walked into his house, you would be dead. But in my house, nothing is going to happen to you. And they gave us food and they treat us nice. And then he says to my mother, I have a meeting and people will come to me for the meeting, but there'll be too many people, so I cannot have you in the house. So across from the hall, he has a storeroom with all kinds of food in it. You will stay in the storeroom and you have a lot of food there. You can eat whatever you want. When the meeting will be over, then you will be able to get back to my house. My mother was sure that he is going to call the authorities and they will take us and kill us. But we were so exhausted from this walking that we couldn't do anything anymore. So we decided whatever will happen, we will take a chance. But it turned out that he was right. People came to the house and they had a big conversation, loud and talking. And after all the people left, he put us back to the house. And then he was asking us, which village do you want to get to? And now I remember the name of the village, Zarevenchi. And we told them the name of the village, and we knew the name of the man is Pavlo Sarachman. So he gave us directions how to go there, and we left early in the morning, and he told us you can go early in the morning because people are going to town. There are rumors that they will selling shoes, so people want to stand in the line to be able to get it. So in case somebody is asking you any questions, tell them that there is a line for shoes till you go into town to buy shoes. But so happened that nobody saw us, and we came to the village early in the morning, and people were going to the water pump to carry the water to the houses because they were filling it up over there and they were carrying with their buckets. So my mother saw an old lady on the side, and she walked over to the lady and she asked her quietly, can you tell me the direction to Pavlo Sarachman? So she gave us the direction, and we came to his house. He was very surprised to see us, and he asked my mother, how did you remember to come to my house? So my mother told him, I remember the last time when I was here. Good, because if you would have asked somebody, I wouldn't have taken in because I don't want anybody to know. So he took us in, and he kept us in his place, and we paid him. We had a little bit of money in our pocket, and then we stayed in his house until close to Christmas time. And when Christmas time came near, by the way, this guy was in charge of the gang which was killing Jews and Poles in his area, and he was the head of the group. And at one day, we stayed in his house on the attic, and in the evening he would let us down to warm up a little bit in the home. And the house consisted of one room, one door, and two windows. And all of a sudden, we're sitting in the house, and somebody is knocking at the door. we have no place where to escape because there's only one door. So he had the oven that they were baking the bread, and on top of the oven it was a little curtain, and she kept all kinds of junk there on this place. So we climbed up on the oven, and he talked to the people in the meantime. I'm going to the door, and when we were on top of the oven, he opened the door, and we saw the guys with the rifles, and he was asking them, what's going on? And they said, we came looking for Jews. And he was in charge. He says, you came looking for Jews in my house? And they said to him, somebody told us that they saw Jews going in this direction. They want to know if he knew anything about it. So he said, you know, my barn is open, my storeroom is open, and the Jews, they're crawling in all kinds of places. Why don't we go and look around? Maybe we'll see somebody. And they went outside and they looked around and they apologized and they walked away, and we survived. And then when the time came for the holiday, he says, you have to go because they assigned to my house a number of people who are in the underground, and they have to stay with us for the holiday. After the holiday, you will be able to come back if you want to. So this is when we left, and we went to another place, to a Polish family, which we had connection with, and they helped us before, and they agreed to take us in. And this is my story about the dog which didn't bark, and until this day, I don't understand how this happened.
Another miracle. And why do you think that the man protected you and didn't kill you and your mother and Grandma Giza?
He wasn't a killer. He was telling just my mother a story that there was a villager, and he was Polish, and most of the village were Ukrainian. And he says to my mother, we didn't want to kill him. We gave him 2 weeks time to leave, and he didn't leave. So we had no choice, so we had to kill him, because we didn't want to have any witnesses to see what's going on in the village.
And approximately how long were you hiding with this man?
Maybe a month or so.
Okay. Another miracle. Thank you very much.